I hate when they do that.
Hey, what up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Peoples.
Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy, where we don't stand out, we stand up. And today, as you can see, our topic, we're talking about social media and ministry. So I want you to be prepared for this conversation because I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball.
Deborah.
Deborah in the building.
That's not surprising, is it? That's not
No.
surprising.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But we don't take it for granted either, though, Deborah.
We don't.
Cheryl.
Hey, and then look at Cheryl. She all up in here. Hey, Cheryl.
All right, we're gonna hopefully get to the without freezing for your end.
How was your husband, Cheryl?
Yes. How was your husband?
Lisa.
Is in the building.
Lisa,
All right, Mama McCory in the building. Great morning to you. All right, so let's get us started as always. Un momento, por favor. Bam.
But don't be the meal. You know when you said that? Don't be the meal.
Experience is the best teacher, but truth is the Holy Spirit is the best teacher.
If you can find the straightest path to the queen that you're supposed to be with, I believe in, and she finds her straightest path to you, and I think it gets away from all those, the skeletons in the closet.
We aim for the wrong things.
Right.
We aim to make our children a good husband. We aim to make our children good wives or successful businessmen or whatever. Right. The aim is wrong.
Trending is not happening without curiosity. So what's driving curiosity? You understand? People that are successful, people that are effective in life are people with priorities.
Priorities. Can all of you guys see me in the back room when we do the intro?
I can. I wasn't watching. I was sharing. I was.
My head was just knocking just for a minute.
Yeah,
so
hey, he's at ICU.
All right. Awesome.
He's at ICU.
Amen. That's
awesome. Good stuff.
All right.
I was back here jamming, bro. I know if you saw
me. Yeah, always. And then there's always that part when we get to Dwayne when he said we almost always aiming for the wrong things.
Right.
And then it just drops out. Yeah. Like, oh.
It hit different right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. You should. Hey, AD, I got to send you the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast intro and outro. So just so you can hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
Yeah. I did do a little something.
You did a little something on there.
But I can't. But the thing of it is, I can't use it. I can't use it. I ain't paid the man. You can't use it.
I told him, I said, hey, once you're over, you never go broke.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's get
into it. Let's get into it.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Make sure you're sharing is caring, and tagging someone that needs to be a part of this conversation. Absolutely. And comment. Let us know what you think. So we're talking about social media ministry, right? So as of now, we know the quarantine happened, and a lot of ministries and churches, some have filmed from home, like my pastor, he does his from the home. And a lot of ministries have shortened, like if you ever watch TD Jakes, pastor's in the building. Great morning to you, Pastor.
Hey.
If you ever watch TD Jakes, his services are have been lately up until now. I'm not sure if he's got his people back, but they have been just him. They do the pan. You see, like nobody's in the stand, nobody's there but him, and probably in the cameraman. Yeah, he does. He does. And he's always said like he's used to preaching in the woods to rocks and trees, and so he's proven kind of like, this is where I came from. I can preach when nobody's around. So it seems like he has not lost his stride. So my question, or the discussion I want to have today, is can with this pandemic and with the forced shifting of a lot of ministries, do you feel like social media has people have used social media to do a good job in enhancing their ministry? And can you leverage social media more to do the work of the ministry?
Yeah.
And so What ways do you think that we can do more in social media? Because some of the ways I was thinking was the ability to connect more personally. Like you have inboxing, right? So you can represent your church. They like your page. You can get into their inbox and send them messages and just stay connected. Because I think everybody wants to feel like they're connected to their ministry and things of that nature. Which ways, so that's kind of the conversation I want to have. Like, what ways can ministry stay, more connected to the people that are connected to them and to those that they're prospectively may want to connect with them?
I think it's a lot of ways. Well, not a lot of ways, but definitely, the personal inbox. And like you said, a lot of Facebook has a feature to where you can set rooms. Hey, Richard, rooms to where you can select people into your room.
Right.
And you can message them directly and video them directly. I think that's one way of doing it.
Right.
You can do personal Zoom meetings, like Bible study, or if you want to do ice cream social on Zoom, you could do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just set a meeting, have everybody have a ice cream cone, and there you go. Right. So I think that's one way. Right. Another way of doing it.
I think it really kind of broadens the influence of the preacher when he can utilize both personal and social media ministry.
Yeah.
I've been able, thank God, to build a really strong social media following. I've been on social media now for the last maybe 5-6 years consecutively, and I've been able to reach more people. A lot more people have been exposed to my ministry and what God has given me because of the influence, because everybody is always on their phones. Everybody's always on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. And so these are things that people are always savvy to. And so I think if the preacher or the pastor doesn't become social media driven, to a degree, that they're going to kind of fade out, not because the institution of church is dissolving by any means, but I think it keeps you relevant and keeps you in the face of the people. To be able to have social media, and then it's a good evangelistical tool. You ain't got to be out there knocking on doors, and you ain't got to be because of the pandemic and social distancing. I think that you can really get the message out if you could just share. That's why we tell people, to share the Brothers of Legacy program, because we're trying to get the word out. It's a form of evangelism. So I think the social media ministry has really kind of helped us in the long run.
Right. Yeah, it did.
What about you, Pastor? What you think?
Morning, Richard. Morning, everybody. Morning, Mom. I agree with everything that has been said. I struggle with so there's two ways of looking at it, and I'm trying to be very careful, but I don't know how to be careful, so I'm gonna just say this.
Just say it. Just say it. Don't say it, man.
God is tired of people trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole.
Okay.
I believe that God is a God of resource. He is our ultimate resource.
Right.
And he gives us tools to leverage.
Right.
Generationally speaking, not everybody is going to be drawn to social media. There are people that have reached a certain age where their technical aptitude does not support being online.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are not going to be driven by social media.
Right.
Those people will be no less effective than they have always been. Their anointing doesn't shrink because they're not on social media.
Right.
There will be a generation that takes full advantage of social media.
Right.
There will be a generation that takes full advantage of everything that God has already given to them.
Right.
So I believe that you use what you got.
Right.
I believe that every mechanism that God has given you and anointed you in to use, that's what you use. That's what I love about David. He used what he had.
Right.
He did not use what he wasn't familiar with, but he was still effective.
Right.
Right. And so what I would say is to those that have the opportunity to leverage social media and you don't do it, that's on you.
Right.
But don't say, because I'm not on social media, I lost. Because there are other things you can do. And I don't want to hear anybody say because another preacher's not on social media, that's why they lost their people. That's a lie from the pit of hell.
Right.
What I am saying is use what you got. And if that's what God is, not everybody is anointed for social media. And not everybody has an AD Walker.
Right. You can't be blessed to have one of them.
Right.
Dr. Sims.
Right.
So I believe, I believe what Jesus meant when he said greater works than these we will do. Absolutely. Greater works than these will we do. But he's speaking to those next generations.
Right.
So the objective of leaders is to encourage our next generations to use what you have. Right. I cannot compete social media wise with Dr. Chris Burton. Can't.
Right.
Won't even try to. And I'm in IT.
Right.
Not gonna do it. Because that season, to me, that's personally for Brian McCrory, that season has passed me. But Chris Burton, you in your prime, use it, leverage it. AD Walker, you in your prime, use it. Shame on you if you're not using the tools that God has given you. Right. But don't be mad at me because I'm not on social media all the time. My church may shrink. This is what I found out. The number of bodies in my church may shrink because I'm not social media savvy. But the number of believers that have contributed to the kingdom has not been impacted from my ministry.
Okay.
Because I have not.
So let me ask you.
I have not stopped ministering.
Right.
I have not stopped discipling.
Right.
I have not stopped any of those things because I don't have to have internet to preach Christ.
True.
Right. I don't need likes, clicks, followers to set my riches in glory, to store my riches in glory. I don't need it. You want to know why? Because when I first started in this walk, I was going door to door. And now with sheltering in place, it's not that I don't see people, I just see fewer people.
Right.
But even though I may see fewer people, I'm still going to preach Christ to those that I come in contact with.
Absolutely.
So I don't want us to get caught up in all of that because I think that a lot of times we lose things, we lose opportunities because people aren't where we are.
Right.
Right. And so if you want to meet with me and you want to do a Zoom call and I'm unable to do a Zoom call, but 2 years ago we was on the phone, but now you don't want to meet with me because I can't do Zoom, that's on you.
Right. Miss me with that.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. I love I want to be able to do this and all of that, but I don't want us to get so, you said some, social media driven. I want us to be social media empowered, but I don't want us to be social media driven because we'll get so hooked on social media that we lose social interaction.
True. And I think just to add to what Pastor's saying, I think when you are connected to a leader who may not be social media savvy, if you will,
right,
I think it's important that the people that are connected, who are in the younger generation, be able to expose the leader to or to do for the leader what they cannot do for themselves.
Amen.
All of that responsibility should not be on the leader to say, I got to go ahead now. The last time I was on social media, it was AOL. Right. It was dial-up. And so now things have changed drastically since then.
Wow.
And my thing is, and if I believe in my pastor or I believe in my ministry, I believe in who God has put over my life to speak over my life, I think I would be doing myself a disservice not to evangelize for my church, not to bring people who are in my circle into what's pretty much empowering me and feeding me.
Right.
And so I think social media is a very powerful tool.
Right.
But just like Pastor said, I think that the likes and the shares can be deceptive.
Right. But I did want to say, hey, what's up, Dwayne?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Did you bring your bomb, sir?
I do, but I see I'm gonna have to go grab it because it's on the other side. So I'm gonna mute this and I'm right back with it because I just.
So to kind of like to pass this point, right? So shifting a little bit, and I'm with you, Pastor, because you know, and it's funny when you're younger and technology changes, you're like, why is it old people have such a hard time? But then I'm getting to that age where certain things I'm like, oh man, I don't want to mess with that.
Right.
That's way too much work to be messing with. You know, I realize I'm getting in that mindset like, oh man, I ain't fooling with that. That's a lot, you know. Yeah. So I realized, but something you said, like having an AD walker, right? So there's a lot of, I believe a lot of churches, if you have at least 5 members, there's an AD walker there. You know, there's someone ready to I can pass it. You just give the message. I'll get you online. You know, because that's what I've told Pastor. I'm like, you don't worry, don't change nothing. I'm gonna just get you online.
And I'll kick, scratch, fight at every.
Yes, he did. Me and Pastor had numerous conversations before we even started this whole social media thing. Right. And he pleaded the fifth. He was just like, man, I don't have a camera face. You know, I just can't do the social media. I don't see how y'all can sit there and just talk in front of a phone like that. I just don't see how you could do it. And I told Pastor, I said, it ain't so much about you talking into a phone, but there's people that's connected to what you're talking about. And my thing is, we don't want to isolate ourselves to think that the pulpit is the only place that we can be effective.
Right. Listen, Dr. Chris, if I had met you and known that you was chipping away, I'd have chipped a little harder. Like, oh, I'm gonna call him on Monday. You call him on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I was giving him the smoke. I was giving Pastor the smoke about that.
Right.
They was getting into you, 100%. I ain't see that coming.
Change the subject.
But I'm curious. This story going. I want to hear this.
So you had to fight Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier at the same time?
At the same time.
In the same quarter.
Right.
He was the champ from Harlem Nights.
See, so Dr. Chris was getting them at home. I was getting them after service. Every service, like, all right, when we gonna do this thing? You ready?
Chip, you ready?
Right.
Chris didn't know about AD. AD didn't know about Chris. You know how? Look, when you remember when you was a child. Look, some of y'all had both your parents in the house. Right. You got in trouble because Mama was there when it happened, and then she whipped you. And then Daddy came home. She told Daddy whipped you too.
Oh wow! You could. Wow. There was no winning in that one. Sorry. I didn't know it was that bad though. I remember when we first trying to get you on Brother's Legacy, and AD used to say, "Well, we're gonna get. I'm trying to get my pastor on. He's trying to, it's kind of hard right now, but we're gonna get him on." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
We'll
show the vision many years ago about speaking to a mass crowd of people, and the vision was he elevated me and showed me a crowd that I could not number.
There you go.
And I shared that testimony with my family. It's a 22-year-old 24-year-old testimony.
Wow.
So when social media comes along and y'all got me online, my son says, "Remember?"
Do you remember? Okay, but that's what is going to happen, though. I mean, with social media and all it takes is for 1, 2,
the right person to see
to catch it. It's over, and then sponsorships come, and the following comes. I mean, I know most folks don't do it for the following, but sometimes it just happens without you wanting it to happen. Right. And then next thing you know, as soon as you hit go live, you got 2.5K in your live. You're like, okay, how did we get here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When you look at Trent Shelton and some of those folks, they just as soon as they hit go live, it's like they got a whole cornucopia of people in their live. So
yeah. And my thing is, I've been looking at some of the stuff that people promote on social media, and I'm just like, it makes it so difficult to get great content out because people will rather share people eating online and people doing makeup online.
Yeah.
People, you know what I'm saying? You got people who, you got what's that other preacher named Kobe something? And he's this young preacher. He's a little mental, and he be having people watching him live. He up there preaching and stuff like that, but he ain't saying nothing.
Is that the one that had to ate the fly that one time?
Yeah. I mean, they got him dancing and shouting and stuff on there, and I'm just like, wait a minute, are we caught up on sharing real content? Right. Or are we just going to continue to share stuff that's not empowering us to change or to do anything?
You gotta realize that social media, the way it's set up though, is real life personified, because on social media people can be whatever, whenever, however, and there are no rules where when they come to your church and you preaching, you're gonna automatically get unsolicited, almost scripted type behavior. Yeah. But on social media, the dude that said F this, F that, kiss my diss, that's exactly who he gonna be on social media, because he ain't in your face. But he comes to church and he can like, yes, pastor, no, pastor. Now I don't feel that. That stuff, But social media it's feel good. It's right now. It's instant, and that's what you get. So it's like, I think, was it Terry that said it's distorted, because the person who has the most powerful statements 9 times out of 10 gonna have 15, 20 people when they're like really moving and really going, and then you're gonna get a person that's just ratchet and saying stupidest that's gonna make somebody laugh that start with 3K in their live. If you let Beyonce go live, Beyonce gonna have 1 million people live because people buy into Beyonce and what.
And she ain't even said nothing yet.
Right, but you let let's say TD Jakes or somebody of that caliber go live at the same time. I guarantee you Beyonce win. But we got to remember, social media is no different than our construct. The way is narrow, and there's not many people doing it. So I think when it comes to social media, you got to go do your marketing thing. Yeah, you got to find your targeted audience, but you got to be who God calls you to be still, because God don't need you to have a viral video before you go viral.
But, I think it's commensurate. I think there's a level of consistency when it comes to the numbers, right? You think about, there are rare occasions where there's someone who no one knows that goes viral, right? Because the content, they hit everything in the right spot and the right person shared it.
Right.
But I don't think there's a comparison of someone like me to a Beyonce, because Beyonce has millions of followers without social media
already.
TD Jakes
already has
millions of followers, without social media, because he's been everywhere. He's been to the 4 corners of the globe. Mm-hmm. Beyonce has been to the 4 corners of the globe already before social media. So I think there's something to be said about that. And so a lot of it is, when you made global connections and you go live, people already know who you are, so they can click in. But if you've never left your zip code and you go live, right? I mean, there is a difference. If your social media following, a lot of times, is consistent with your world, the world in which you live in, right? So I think there's something to be said about that. And so what I would say is this: I think it goes back to using what you got. And this is the other thing that I would say. I don't expect social media.
I did too.
Make me famous.
All right.
A lot of people are wanting to use social media to become famous.
Right.
All I want to do is get a word out.
Right.
And that's the issue. And so I think what I had to learn, this is just my personal, God says your relationship is with me.
Right.
So when you open your mouth and you begin to speak, if I'm using you, does it matter who's in front of you?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
A lot of people want the blessings of God, but they don't want the commitment to his word. In other words, a lot of folks want God to be married to them, and they still courting Him. Right. And that blends into social media. If you don't have anything in you, whatever's in you is going to come out. And I'm going to tell you something. Crazy is fame can make you famous also.
Right.
Yes, Lord.
A lot of
we know that. Jim Jones. Jim Jones took a whole lot of people to the grave.
Right. No doubt.
Dave Koresh.
Took a lot of people to the grave. Yeah.
Right. A lot of people. Let's see. Hold on. So
Donald
I was just
Trump.
doing.
Always talking and ain't saying nothing.
Always tweeting though. I mean, he is though.
He's got Twitter fingers for real.
He got Twitter fingers, man. You be like, look, dude, like, are you gonna do something of significance, or try to cuss everybody out because they don't agree with you, like Donald Trump?
But he has done things that were significant. I know we're changing the subject, but
No, he has. But what I'm saying is that the other time that he been using tweeting, he could have been doing something else a little bit more significant. You feel me? Like being damage control.
Like I think with that, it comes like everything else. Twitter, social media is a part of our society now. So I'm cool with the Twitter fingers to an extent. Being the military guy that I was, I also believe that there's just things that the president shouldn't even concern himself associating or even speaking on certain settings. So that's where I have an issue with the president tweeting, because I have a top secret clearance. There's things that goes on in your head that the world don't need to know about ever. And you can't be compulsive with the Twitter fingers. I think he needs to have like a big mama or whatever you want to call it that holds his phone. So whenever he wants to tweet, hey, big mama, let me get that. Stop it, Donald.
I mean, he's launched some major attacks from Twitter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and people think, oh, it's just Twitter. It's just Twitter.
Man.
No, it's not just Twitter.
Right. Like his
words
can start a war.
But if you go back 25 years, social media was different, but everything was out there because there were no restrictions.
Right.
But there was a time when Facebook, you could see a public execution.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? There were millions of people who saw it.
Right.
Yep.
And wanted to see it.
Right.
And hated it, but you can't turn your eyes away. So I'm saying that people are drawn to drama as a people love mess.
Right.
And that's true. So it really doesn't matter. All you have to do is be entertaining these days.
Right. That's true.
And that's the downside of social media. But guess what? Is it any different in the church? There are certain churches you can go into and you just getting entertained.
You right about that, Pastor.
Can you pull up Jeff Roney's comment again? His last
Which
comment.
This one?
Yes. Hey, Jeff, I absolutely agree with him here. Because just think about it. What was one of the biggest things or agendas that we heard and we now quote and people now quote from President Trump? Fake news.
Oh, the fake news, right?
He ostracized media.
Right.
And he created his own play. No, of everything that's ever happened in the past that the United States people have heard about from a president came from what type platform? Breaking news.
Right.
This is CBS, this is ABC, NBC, whoever.
Coined that phrase, right?
But now, cats on Twitter like, oh, did you read what the president just wrote? So now when he says fake news, it's a credible statement because he's manipulated the whole media game to where he drives and directs when he speaks, what he says, and I think he got a marketing side to him that's kind of smart I mean, I know he's a billionaire, and I know he's had to do something right to be a billionaire for as long as he has been, even with all the mistakes.
Right.
The man gets on a tirade, and this right here shuts up MSNBC, CNN, and everything else. Twitter, bam. But at the same time, we've seen Iran fight information wars in the middle of actual combat via Twitter. So it's definitely it is our norm now.
Hey, Dwayne.
Yes.
Pull a little closer to the mic. You sound like you're in the hallway. I mean, we hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
But
Now you sound like a new
modern day propaganda machine.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Absolutely. Speaking of propaganda.
Oh, go ahead.
What's up?
Sorry. No.
I was doing a bad segue. Speaking of propaganda, tonight, Purpose 12 Forever will be on with the ladies. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
This
I
is
want one of those.
ladies'
I want
night,
one of those.
and
This-
the
I want one of
feel
those.
is right. This is ladies' night.
Hey,
what
a night. You know, I wanted to use that, but everybody
Copyright,
shut me down. Right. Shut our whole broadcast down. I was like, man.
I
But
want one of those.
I was like, man, that bass line was kind of funky.
Yeah.
Man. I was just like, boom, boom. They took it back to the 70s.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to shout out all of y'all, bro. Man, all y'all got amazing wives. I'm gonna shout my wife out, Stacey Goodson, my baby. But it's like looking at the intro, man. You put the right. See, once again, social media, right? Because just think about it. Back in the day, you have a women's conference at church.
Right.
And you get a little flyer with their best picture in a square or something, and it's like, damn, look,
Black and look.
Yeah,
I just
that's
saw
true.
that intro. And I was like, man, these women finna tell. Look at that. I don't know who she is, but she look like she look like she's somebody.
I'm surprised Tony on here. Where's on that? That's my baby. That's my baby.
we got black, white, we got doctors, we got elders' wives, we got just regular women.
They finna show out. They finna show out today.
Hey, look, y'all tune in. Y'all tune in.
Tune in.
They finna show out.
All right. Appreciate it.
AD up in the cut. DJ AD.
Hype Williams presents.
So if you don't know where you're at, you are rocking with the Brothers of Legacy, where we're talking about everything under the sun. There we go. Oh, you already know what it is.
There you go.
What up, bro?
I knew he was in here still.
Oh, well, you don't stand up.
I knew there was a doctor's mantle on the Rollins house somewhere. I thought it was Dr. Rollins, the male on the golf court, but I knew it was in the.
Yes, indeed.
Let me say this real quick, AD. If you are on Facebook, yeah, those emojis are free. There's 6 of them. They're very free. Just like on Periscope. Hearts are free. Unless you want to send some stuff, and you pay for that. But those super hearts they call them. But yeah, I've been watching my Facebook feed here, and I haven't seen one emoji in like 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay.
Hey, Terry,
we ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah, right. Okay,
they say they're too grown for emojis.
I guess.
They say they're too grown for emojis.
But
They can give the thumbs up though. They can at least do that.
But here's the deal. But see, it's not about being grown. Here's the deal. If you tap those emojis, right? Facebook will put the algorithm put your person in your algorithm, so that way every time we go live, you will see us automatically without having to go and find us.
As a matter of fact, we need to go ahead and use our own emojis right quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Show them how it's done.
Flood it with some emojis.
And just so folks understand, emojis are when you are. It's just like it's the social media's amen.
There you go.
We can do it like that.
There you go. I broke that down.
That makes
Look,
sense.
and another thing I'm noticing in social media, you got to be like the old Temptations. You can't be too proud to beg. Hey, please like, share, comment, like, share,
please,
comment.
baby, please.
I don't like
comment.
saying that, but please, come on, Facebook,
Please.
YouTube, come on, Twitter,
Come on now.
Twitterverse, please, Periscope. We want it.
Emojis are currency. Yeah.
I love y'all. Please.
Yeah.
Look, don't make me get 80s LL Cool J on y'all. Look,
Dwayne said for 35 cents a day you can feed.
real talk. Look,
we're way off topic.
Let's go back.
Don't make me get my LL Cool J on.
Please. With the ice cream in the lip.
But his lips gonna be trapped before it's all over with. They be like, man, get that boy some blood sticks.
So Carmen,
He needs some milk.
The beeswax or something. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. Sorry. We just got our cut. Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this, because we all attend church. We got Pastor who has a church. He said hopefully Resurrect go to top follow monetize podcast. Okay. Read that again. So how do you feel like if using social media, well, I mean, I guess it's an obvious answer, but the process of salvation can start through social media. Meaning, you know, like you preach the message, you receive the word, you know, like Pastor always does, kind of like a virtual call to the altar in a sense where, you know,
absolutely
this opportunity. But the transitioning, because, you know, it's one thing to accept Christ, right? But we know to really stay consistent, you need to be connected somewhere.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so what would you say? Yeah. What would you say, like, is the best practice to stay connected? Because, you know, we watch shows, you watch certain programs and broadcasts and things, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna give my life to Christ after years or whatever, or how long it may be, you know, because generally we all, I know for most part, you kind of make up your mind before you actually do it. Like, you know, you going into church, you know, you're like, you know what, I think today's the day. You know, I think today is where, you know,
they will,
and that's the day that you get right, discipleship. That's the moment that you hear the word. You know, it's like, okay, God, this is the word that you need for you, because I know you're ready to make that decision. God already knows I'm gonna give that word that's specifically for your situation, because you're already ready to accept Christ into your life. Right. So what would the transition look like from social into real life? You know, how would you, what would you say is the best practices to get from social into real life? Like, what would you think when someone gets the process starts? They'll need several things after that, right?
I personally don't see where it's any different than anything else. I mean, there's a seed, there's a transformation. Right. I don't know how many people go into the church on a Sunday morning with the mindset, you know, I'm going to give my life to Christ today.
Right.
I think that's one of the greatest mistakes that people make in their Christian walk is, I'm going to go to the church so that I can give my life to Christ.
Right.
Help me, somebody, because
facts.
I don't have to be inside a building to give my life to Christ.
Come on now. Come on.
Right.
There's no special platform except confessing with your mouth and believing in your heart that God has raised you. You repent of your sins and ask Him to come into your heart. That's it. I don't have to be in a cathedral. I can be homeless and do that.
Right.
So I think what's important is as leaders that we understand what discipleship is. right?
Right.
Because it's that's something that's a walk, that's a light, that's shining a light, that's an invitation. That's pulling people in. You know, Jesus said, "And if I be lifted up from the earth, I will draw." So all you have to do is lift up Christ,
Right.
and to lift up Christ, you can be anywhere.
Right.
So I think the first thing we have to make sure that people understand is you don't have to be in the church to give your life to Him.
Right.
Because you think that if I got to be in the church to give my life to Him, then I got to be in the building to stay saved.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Woo.
That's good. That's good.
We got that messed up, right?
Right.
So I think that's the benefit of social media. Social media has broken people out of that box.
Right.
Pastor, look, you better preach up in here. Look, like dead serious. Some of y'all don't realize this what he just said has been a point of contention for social media ministries since the inception. And at one point in time, I didn't know how to feel. I was on both sides.
Right.
Because you got the preachers and the church and side of Christianity that says you need a grassroots building.
Right.
And then they said that scripture from Hebrews, as that day draws nearer, you should forsake not the assembly together of yourself. And they make it a church thing. And I'm not saying that that's not the case.
Right.
But there's some people who will never physically enter church walls. And I've been on Periscope 2:00 in the morning to like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, just transparent but real.
Right.
And I had people come in to troll me.
Right.
And in the middle of them getting trolled, they came back the next time I was on. And then the next time before I got ready to get out there, it was like, hey, I want to know more about this Christ thing. People who came in talking about metaphysical stuff and was dead on it, who gave their life to God. And then I had to give them like some details. You don't need to be Superman the day after you get saved. No, let's go back and renew some things. Let's go back, get some basic understanding, some foundational knowledge. But look, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna shut my mouth. But Jesus set the precedence with the Roman soldier. You remember the Roman centurion, Pastor? He came to Jesus and he said, "My master needs healing." And Jesus said, "Well, okay, I'll go." And then the centurion made one of the most powerful statements that this generation should be able to understand. The centurion said, "Look, I'm a man of authority like you.
Mm-hmm.
If I speak, everything under me listens. You are the same. So if you just speak the word,
Right.
my master is going to receive it."
Right.
And that's what social media has become. And look, I ain't saying it's prophetic, but I don't think that God does anything by coincidence. I think it was absolutely I think he absolutely planned it, that one day Pastor McCory, that AD, that Terry, that Dwayne could say something in Georgia and Idaho and reach somebody in Pakistan and India with the same impact as if they were right there face to face. So I think a lot of people, because it makes them seem a little insignificant, they go against the platform. And I think the same way you have a lot of ministers who really didn't hear. Let me do this. Let me look in the camera. A lot of ministers who do this on platforms who hasn't heard from God, the same way as a lot of pastors who haven't heard from God, who started churches. So yeah, you're gonna have the good, the bad, and the ugly on every platform. But I absolutely think that this is a legit platform. Why? Because people can be changed and transformed, and God don't need four walls. God doesn't need he doesn't need you to have a robe or anything else on. All he needs you to do is to have a word and to release that word. That's it. That's all it's ever been. So, Pastor, that was a Shaquille O'Neal moment for y'all that don't understand what he just said.
Yeah,
that was backboard just came down on top of some 7-foot dude.
But,
Pastor
but
sometimes
you
be
know,
like the Kimmy Matumbo. No.
but you know, I wonder though, how would Jesus deal with social media today? If Jesus was on social media in our time period, how would he deal with social media with all of the great things that we already know that he did? Like, I know his inbox would be blowing up. I know it'd just be like, Jesus, can you come over here? I got this going on. And,
do you know how viral he would be? Man, did y'all see that dude walking on water?
I'll tell you something. I believe, I don't even believe Jesus would have an IP address.
No.
Because with him, I believe that social media, there would be people following him with cameras on.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would,
you know what disciples would
just see it like
He
this.
had 12 followers.
What was it?
Right?
What was it? The Truman Show? Was it the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Was that the movie?
Yeah.
For the same reason.
Yeah, he had 12. He only had 12 followers though. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
but people forget he said one can set 1,000 to fight and 2 10,000.
Yeah,
So,
that's all I need. Give me 12.
Yeah, people need to realize you can go viral just speaking his name.
Yeah.
Right.
He is the virus.
Yeah.
Look, I'm standing here next to Jesus. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Can I have a selfie?
I go live and be like, look, Jesus is right. Look, right here.
Hey, look, you have 150 people broadcasting from the wedding. Hey, yo, it's lit in here. Jesus just was over there while the water, y'all.
Turn the water to wine.
Go ahead, keep the party going.
All right, keep the party going. All right, so we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We appreciate you guys hanging and coming through. Right, that's what I'm saying, though.
We love y'all for real.
All right, but
so you better say that word.
For real, though. For real, seriously.
For real, though.
You better say that word.
You know, there are only how many occasions does the Bible speak of Jesus being inside a church, inside a building?
I know ones when he ripped the money changing table when he flipped it.
And then when he was younger, I think he went. When he got separated from his parents.
When his parents left him, and when he tore everything up, right?
And then when he read about himself.
Oh yeah. So the point is, Jesus never emphasized the building.
Come on. Ooh. Woo! Hold on. Let me Ric Flair on that one for you. Can I Ric Flair? Woo!
You said let me Ric Flair on it. That's the first time I heard.
But I don't want to get. I don't want y'all to get it twisted. I don't want you to get it twisted because at the same time, there's not many people out there on the streets preaching.
Right.
There are people out there doing it, but there are more people in the building doing it because they've decided that I'm going to create a gathering space.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, while Jesus did not emphasize the building, neither does he disqualify the building.
Facts.
Right.
All right.
It's an avenue.
It's an avenue, and you want to have a space where people can come together and hear a word. I just think that we have to put the priorities in the proper place. That's all that I believe that's the revelation. That's the one significant revelation that social media has given us is we need to have our priorities right. The building isn't the only place to go.
Right.
To find Christ. I think the building is great. And also the building serves a larger purpose than preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that fellowship.
Right.
That personal fellowship as well. Yeah.
Right. So I don't want to
like homemade.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Anybody else? Any other closing words before we get out of here?
I'm gonna say this in close. I got a homeboy. We talking about street evangelism. I got a homeboy down in Florida, Ramon. I think he's still on Facebook. I haven't seen him in a while. But Ramon street preaches, and he's on the corner. He's on every corner in Jacksonville, wherever his truck take him. But most part he's in Jacksonville, and he's preaching the word. It takes a special, to me, it takes a special kind of person to street evangelize. I know I tried to do it as a kid, as a young believer. Didn't go well because I was scared, so I didn't do it anymore. But shout out to Ramon for doing that because I think street evangelism is still relevant. I think it's still real. Hey, Leah,
what up?
And so, yeah, I think street evangelism is very, very, very important. And yeah, shout out to Ramon. I don't know if he's still on Facebook, but shout out.
And just to quickly piggyback off of what both of them said, when it comes to Christ, take it how you can get it, however you can get it. If that's in somebody's church, cool. If that's through this broadcast or another broadcast, cool. If it's on somebody's Twitter feed, cool. If it's at your cousin's house that got a beauty shop in the back and Evangelist Dunson is getting her hair done, cool. God is available on so many levels, so we got to stop boxing him in to this is what the certified gospel looks like. This is where it comes from. This is how it's packaged. No, it's just as different as the 5 people on this panel.
Make sure
yeah, we all are similar, but we all are different. So, however, get it how you live.
Get it how you live. That's my favorite quote.
Get it how you live.
All right. You may talk about that street evangelism thing because, yeah, we're gonna get into that. So
yeah,
appreciate you guys rocking.
You should. That's pretty good.
Don't nobody want to get into that.
I want to.
Oh yeah, this gonna be because
that just made my heart go.
Yeah, we definitely need to really dig into that. But appreciate you guys rocking with us, hanging with us. As always, coming through. Yes, everybody. I know. I thought that was a green screen. I didn't think that was real.
I thought me too.
Till he put his arms up. I was like, is that real? Is that really real?
Yeah, I'm like, how do you do
that? Hey, he just showing off right now. He's showing off. Look at her.
Let me go and handle that.
Yeah, there you go. Making us look bad. Get out of here.
Here you go.
I'm gonna have my 2-pound weight tomorrow. Over here, like, watch this.
All right, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging with us. We see you guys tomorrow, same place, same channel, and make sure you watch Purposeful Forever tonight because it is going down. All right.
All right.
Peace out. When I can find this intro.
There you go.